The Millennial Heretic did a reply on a comment that was stating that the Bible is historical evidence of Christianity. That's the only thing they have. That's the only thing they can point to as proof that their God exists. The truth is, it's the only thing that had a storyline that was catchy and that would draw people in. There were a lot of other texts before the Bible, even centuries before the Bible. Ancient texts in the pyramids, all these hieroglyphics, laying out exactly what they believed 1,000 years before the Bible was conceived. They went into afterlife stuff. That's the only similarity in the Bible, but that's why religion is created. People were afraid of what happens when they die, so they conjured up all these stories to help them feel better. There's the Epic of Gilgamesh, which talks about this massive flood. Christians are thinking, that's a good idea. Let's put a flood in our story. Again, the Epic of Gilgamesh also talks about afterlife because people wanted comfort. Enuma Elish was written 500 years before the Bible. The story of that is creation. It's very, very similar to Genesis in the Bible. Again, inspiration. The Book of the Dead, ancient Egypt texts, again, talking about afterlife, sinning, judgment. Very similar to Revelations. It was written about 300 years before the Bible. The Bible is nothing but reimagined old stories packaged into one book. And then 1,000 years after that book was released, newer people said, wow, this book is very, very violent. There's so much genocide, rape, incest. We got to change it up. So then they wrote the New Testament to try to gloss over all the badness and end the book with some happiness. It can't be too happy though, so we're going to have the main character die close to the end. Spoiler. But don't worry, that main character dying is actually a good thing. And a side note, if it's a good thing, then why aren't they praising Judas for making it happen? I mean, if it wasn't for Judas, Jesus never would have died for our sins. And never mind the fact that the Bible that we have today has been translated hundreds of times and reinterpreted just as much.